By the way, he makes this look really easy because if I was doing this, it would be like a huge glop, probably more like this. He just goes, he's done a lot of caulking, so he just makes it look really simple.
I do hate caulking though. So
He was not in the mood to caulk. He wasn't going to caulk, and then he decided to caulk. And which ones are done? The ones on the cage?
yeah.
So all the ones on the dog cage are already done. He did all of those. I guess this is the pile that is left to do. So we'll see how this goes. Say bye, Jim.
Bye, Jim.
Start talking again.
So once you kind of clean up any extra caulk that you don't want, I will then just do a closer inspection and make sure there's no gaps and no excess caulk, and there you go. You can see it's caulked, and you set it aside to dry. That'll actually dry clear. And like I said, it's a painter's caulk, so it will easily be able to be painted over later on.
Hey everyone, so after we deglazed all of the frames here, after we did the doors, then the next thing that happened is Jimmy filled in all of the seams with caulk, and then there were a bunch of holes up there for the crown molding, because the goal is that we're putting cabinets on top up there. So he filled all of this with caulk. He also filled all the drawer fronts, and this will all have to be, what, sanded down?
Yeah.
Sanded down. We're changing the size of the handles, so he had to fill in like the holes here, you know. He did all of that, and while he was doing that, this is what our kitchen looks like right now, by the way. I was doing this, and so I did all the edges on the back of all of the cabinets, and now Mr. Jimmy, this is primer, and now he is rolling the centers and the backs, and then here's where they're going, everywhere. There's going to be 2 coats of this primer. So right now he's just got them everywhere. He didn't do like the top edges because otherwise we'd have paint everywhere. So he basically just I did that edge, and then he did the doors. This is what the house looks like currently. Kind of a chaotic, crazy little mess here. So how many you got left? Just that pile right there of the big ones? This isn't really taking that long, you guys. We're really surprised that it's going as quickly as it is. But it's going to be a step-by-step thing, because we're going to have to then do a second coat on the paint, which we'll probably do a different day, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna let this dry.
And let it all dry. And then, of course, we have to flip it over and do the same thing on the other sides of the doors. All right, see you, bye. Back to the cabinet project with Jim. We kind of zoomed forward a little bit here. We're on the second coat of the primer after he filled everything, sanded everything down, did 1 coat of primer, and now doing a second coat of primer. It's pretty darn well covered, I would say, wouldn't you?
It's gonna need a 3rd coat. At
Third
least
coat.
In some places.
Here's the first coat. There's what kind of that looked like with a brush. This is 2 coats right here. And he's saying it might need a 3rd coat.
I'm gonna do a 3rd coat, just I think, so that it's good, you know. I want it to be a good cover, nice base for the real paint.
so here's a handy little thing that Jimmy made. This is nails into the pieces of wood, and here's what we used that for. We had to paint the sides of all of the doors, and we had to hold them up off of the ground, off of the table somehow, so he just did that with the nails. So painted all the sides, and then since he just happened to have a huge container of nails, we put nails in between them as we stacked them up. And you could see they're just sitting on top of our dog cage and sitting on top of, what is this thing? I don't even know what this is. What is it? A little workbench? Just a little workbench. So all of our doors kind of fit nicely there. And that's where we're at now. The next step is going to be to do the other sides. I am putting a second coat of primer on all of the fronts of the doors. So this part you just do with the brush on the edges, and then the other part you use the little roller, the baby roller, and you roll. And then I will tweak it and make sure it's all good. But this is coat number 2 of primer. So you can see the difference between that and then putting it on, putting a second coat of primer on. So our goal here is to not have any glops in here, in this part, which he did caulk all of the, caulk? Is that what it's called, Jimmy? Caulk. He caulked all of this so that there won't be separation. But see how there's like a big glop right there? You don't want that. So you want to get rid of that. And then, thought that was a piece of dog hair, but it's not. I did Swiffer the floors. So I'm going to keep tweaking this one, but there is a big difference between coat 1 and coat 2, because here's coat 1 over here. Big difference. So we've got coat 2 done on the backs, and now we're doing coat 2 on the fronts.